This is the third video in our performance coaching series, and this time we're talking about how to effectively discuss behaviors with your team members. You've prepared for their coaching, you've connected personally. Now it's time to start talking about the behaviors driving their performance. You have limited time, lots to do, and you probably want to get right to what needs improvement. But you can't just tell people what they did wrong and expect them to change, because change requires willingness and knowledge, and how you discuss behaviors with your people impacts both. Think about it like this. If your manager only ever gave negative feedback, how would you feel? Over time, you'd probably feel less appreciated and less motivated to work harder or do things a different way. What if every time you got together you heard only positive feedback? You might start to feel like your manager had nothing to teach you or wasn't in touch with your work. Talking about behavior doesn't come naturally to most of us, but when you're responsible for people's development and performance, you have to be skilled at communicating what's going well and what needs work. That's balanced feedback, and we all need it to feel valued and to know what and how to adjust so we can be even more effective. Discussing behavior can seem like the hardest part of coaching, but when you follow these 3 steps to start the conversation, you will get more comfortable and better at discussing people's performance. Let's watch an example.
I noticed your survey scores have been trending up the last few weeks. What have you been doing differently?
I've been working on that empathy statement we talked about last month.
That's fantastic. And I saw that too when I was reading some of your chats this week. There were 2 customers who wrote about not being happy with our resolutions, and you wrote, "I'm sorry, I understand how frustrating this is." That was really well done, and I was happy to see it.
Thank you. I'm glad you noticed.
Thank you for making the effort. You've got it now, so keep it up.
Okay.
All right, now let's talk about a different behavior that also impacts your survey scores. Listening and acknowledging. I saw at least 3 chats where the customer stated their issue, you went into verification, then came back afterwards with, "How can I help you?" What did that make the customer have to do?
They had to tell me what they wanted again.
Right. And if that was you on the other end, how would you have felt about having to repeat yourself, and all in type, no less?
Probably annoyed.
Yes, me too. And how do you think that may have affected their perception of our service?
Well, they wouldn't think it was stellar.
In about a minute and a half, the coach performed the 3 steps to start the coaching conversation and was able to comfortably discuss effective and ineffective behaviors. Let's break them down a bit further. In this scenario, the coach started by noticing the upward trend in survey scores and showed appreciation for specific empathy behaviors he saw in several chat examples, which showed he did his homework and prepped for the coaching. He also smiled and sounded genuine, and you could hear from the agent's response that she was really pleased he noticed. The coach then transitioned from appreciation into the corrective discussion when he said he wanted to talk about a different behavior that also affects CSAT. And he shared the specific name of the behavior he wanted to discuss. He called it listening and acknowledging. Lastly, the coach shared 3 examples that demonstrated the behavior needing improvement, which shows he's looking at trending, not one-offs, which is much more meaningful for the associate. And he asked a question that required his team member to think and participate in the coaching. He asked how she would have felt if she were the customer, and then asked how that likely affected the customer's experience. See how quick and easy it can be to recognize and make someone feel good, and yet also have a corrective conversation, all by discussing specific behaviors and examples. There's more to the conversation, of course, but that's in our next video. For now, let's review the 3 steps to starting the coaching conversation so you can start to more effectively discuss behaviors and deliver balanced feedback. 1. Start with a specific behavior to appreciate. These are behaviors you observed and captured examples of during your preparation. They can be things that your associates excel at, or something they've improved since last time, or even just effort, because trying to improve is a step in the right direction and is worthy of acknowledgement. And remember to smile when you give positive feedback. Your intent is to make them feel good. That's how you impact people's willingness to stay and actively improve. 2. Transition into the constructive or growth discussion. Make a statement to let the person know you're moving on and changing topics, and share the topic you want to discuss. Keep it simple and specific. Focus on that one most critical behavior that you observed and captured examples of during your preparation. 3. Share examples and ask questions. You should have several examples you can share, which demonstrates trending instead of just a one-off. With your examples, provide context: when it happened, how many times, what the customer said or did, what the associates said or did. These details help quantify and illustrate the improvement needed. Then, ask a question that requires the person to think and participate in the coaching. Remember, coaching isn't something you do to someone, it's something you do together. And when it's balanced and about specific behaviors, it can be extremely motivating and productive.